Ta-da! We are live, everybody. How we doing tonight, gentlemen? You may notice that we have another extra here tonight. A little
We
special
do.
guest for y'all here. Buddy, let's see, which way am I pointing?
The right way.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, right there. No. I was going to complain about the Steelers shirt, but at least it's backwards, so that's kind of...
Oh, why is that backwards?
I think it's a setting, and like when you log in, there's like you can mirror or unmirror.
Yeah, you can go to the settings and it's
Now.
under video.
Yep. I think I just did it.
See, I shouldn't have said anything. I enjoyed it more backwards. Oh well.
That's normally not the case. You want to read that nice and clear, right there.
I'll just try to ignore that part of the screen. Like here, I'll see it. Like, man, I wish I could like move the logo up just a couple.
I put on my Steelers jammies and my Steelers shirt this morning, just putting something on. So, and I told you, I didn't remember until after I was up because I got up really super early this morning, and I didn't realize. I was like, oh yeah, I got to be on the show today. Am I going to change clothes? No. Something.
Well, I'm glad you're cozy and feeling comfortable anyway. So,
down here. There we go.
Two of our logo colors are Steelers colors, though.
Yeah, I know. I saw the black and yellow.
Yeah, that's true. We got to have the red in there too. So, all right. So, what are you gents drinking tonight? I'm drinking one of my absolute favorite beers from the city of Cincinnati, Mad Tree's Rounding Third. It's their baseball season red IPA. It's I love red IPAs, but this is honestly my favorite thing about baseball season because our baseball team is the Reds. So the drinking helps.
We have amazing players, but somehow our team is usually bad.
Yeah, but we don't have Votto anymore, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to try extra hard to care this year.
Yeah. I'm the vanilla guy. I'm just drinking good old filtered H2O.
Smart.
Yeah, that probably is smart.
With ice in it.
No.
Oh, now we're getting wild.
Right.
I like it.
All right, so I have. This is probably backwards. No, it's right side. This is Ryan Guy's Terror Bird, which I don't know if it's a series. They've got one called Cave Bear, and it's also an Imperial IPA. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
but it's good.
Yeah, another Cincinnati local favorite. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. All right. Well, I guess it's about time we'll go ahead and get things kicked off. We'll play a little video and be right back.
Hello and welcome to The Humanity, where we do the things with the stuff for the people. I'm Matt.
And I'm Tommy, and joining us tonight, our friend and fellow podcaster / atheist / opinionated person who likes to talk about said opinions.
I'm Jimmie Ligon. How you guys doing?
Doing good. How you doing tonight, Jimmy?
Actually, I'm doing pretty well. Can't complain. Just chilling. It's a nice Tuesday, and I tell you what I've been up to today. Okay. My geeky side. I've decided to go high quality on my Plex movies.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
So what I did was I've been ripping Blu-rays all day, and this will continue for quite a few days, probably a week or two, because I don't have just 10 Blu-rays. So I've got about 24 ripped between yesterday and today.
Nice.
So yeah, I was able to rip while I was working today. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Have that
good days. Yeah.
To do that. But yeah, I'm sick of looking at, because I download the movies that I have, but I download them from a torrent site because it's quicker that way. They're smaller file size. But now that I got the audio working fine, I don't want to hear crappy audio. So full DTS or AC3, whatever it happens to be, 5.1 or at most, whatever it is. I want that full effect. So we're just going to watch movies raw. No more encoding for me. So there you go. That's what I'm
nice.
geeky.
Yeah, I love a good geek out. It's good. Yeah, it's a good way to spend your day. So speaking of good ways to spend your day, we figured tonight, hey, let's take a nice light topic since we got our good-natured, good-humored buddy Jimmy with us. Let's talk about hell.
Because hell's a good time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at least we're going to try to be lighthearted about it. There's definitely has its more serious side, to say the least. But
isn't that where Heartbreak Hotel is in hell? Isn't it where Heartbreak Hotel is? I think I stayed there once.
Oh yeah.
I know the Jacksons have. They have a song called "This Place Hotel," and then I know Elvis is there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
He's dead now, so he obviously went back. So.
Or allegedly.
Allegedly.
I heard somebody saw him last week or something.
Saw him last week? Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. But first, before we get into that fun topic, I figured we'd just give Jimmy a chance to introduce himself to the people, let people know who he is, any amount of your story, whatever you might find pertinent, whether it's like faith related or not, just whatever you want the people to know about yourself.
Not a problem. Well, like Tommy said, I'm a fellow podcaster, so I have my own show that I have on Thursday evenings. Comes on about at the same time, called Unreligious. So if you want to check me out, feel free to do that as well. There, I welcome you there. Just be nice, because I'm real famous for blocking people who act like fools. So I don't have to.
Block with the quickness, as they say.
Yeah, I block with the quickness, bro. I don't know you in real life, so what difference does it make? But anyway, as far as my faith goes, like I grew up, Dad said, we're Christians, blah 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 blah. Throughout my whole life, I never really understood it. I never thought it was a thing. I was just like, well, maybe I'll understand when I get older, because I'm a kid, I don't know. So I thought that I would understand. I even went so far as to get baptized when I was 18, because I thought, okay, now I'm going into adulthood. I'm going to really know. And then that lasted about a month. And then after that, I was like, well, I moved out of the house, joined the military. I didn't go to church at all. And then I just totally forgot about it. Didn't declare I was an atheist or anything, because I really wasn't really in tune to all that then. And then in the 30s, I've said this a billion times, I've read the Bible again. And while I was reading, I was like, oh, this is bullshit. I get it. So like a lot of people who've read the Bible again, or at one point, it solidifies your atheism. So when I read and figured out that an atheist is simply just a person who lacks belief or disbelieves the existence of God or gods, that suits me. And again, I have to say real quick, Neil deGrasse Tyson, yes, you are an atheist by definition, sir. Quit being silly. But anyway, here's my story. And I am also in a committed relationship with a woman who is a Catholic, so that people find that very interesting, but it is what it is. I'm not going to limit my experience with human beings just because they happen to believe something that I don't. I'm not going to do that. If they're good people, it doesn't matter. If they use their religion to act like assholes, well, of course, those are the people I'm really not happy with.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
but the people who are just benignly religious, I don't really care, to be honest with you. If it's benign, it's not a problem. But when you're somebody like Greg Locke or Steven Anderson or the Westboro Baptist Church or the evangelicals or the Catholic heads of the Catholic Church, I have a problem with you. Or any other religious sect that does bad stuff, Muslims included, Jews included. There's some bad Jews too. So if you're using your religion to do things, kill people, discriminate, take away women's rights, then I have a problem with you. If you're just a Jewish person or a Christian person or a Muslim who just goes to work every day, doesn't bother anybody, loves your family, has fun with your kids, and does all the just regular stuff everybody else does, I don't have a problem with you. If you're using your religion to be mean, then
you're going to get it back. Yeah.
There's my little entry there. That's a little bit about who I am and what I stand for. So there you go.
Awesome.
When you said benign, it made me think that like reminded me that even benign tumors are still tumors.
Yeah, I mean,
people still get them removed every now and then.
Man, that was great. That was great. You caught on to that. It's not good to have those, but at least it's not going to kill you, right? The one, like I said, I don't hate benign tumors. We just get rid of them, right? But the cancerous ones are the ones that can cause damage, and those are the ones I hate. So if you can get rid of the benign tumors without it was just a little bit of physical discomfort, I can deal with that. That's cool.
But if people want to keep their benign tumors, then that's up to them. That's fine.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to keep your benign tumor, that's fine. It doesn't bother me any. I'm just not. I don't want it on me. But definitely keep your cancerous tumors to yourself and stop trying to infect everybody else. It's so gross.
Yeah.
So gross.
Yeah.
Well, good catch, man. Good catch on that. Nice.
Oh, well, thank you.
But speaking of the less benign aspects of religion, I guess we can go ahead and get into tonight's topic of hell. Yeah. But first, I'm just going to post in the comments. So later it disappeared.
Oh.
There you go.
Oh, there it is. Okay. So come up later in the show, probably towards the end, to kind of hopefully have a little more of a. And I am doing very poorly at finding words tonight. Try to be a little more lighthearted or something towards the end. I got some fun.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. So, but before we get to sharing the memes that I have, I only got like 5 of them, but I find them amusing. But if anyone out there, if you have any blasphemous memes that you find hilarious and want to share, just send them to our email. I'll have my email up during the show, and then I'll be able to save those and hopefully show those as well. Or even if you're watching later and like you don't want, not able to put them up live, we'd still love to see them later. So
when you can do better words with Tommy with a picture, send it to us.
Yes. All right. So yeah, send your memes. We love your memes.
Nice.
All right. Well, someone else talk because I'm okay. I need some warm up time, I guess. Apparently,
your brain isn't braining. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Yeah. My brain's kind of circling the drain. Like I feel like I'm gonna have to talk in circles a bit to make a point in the beginning.
That's all right. Hell has a lot of circles, apparently.
Mormons. No, they have the circles of heaven, levels of heaven. One of them is a planet. You get your own. Anyway, so hell seems to be an important part of certain flavors of religion.
Flavor.
Yeah, it's the one. Like it's an important part of the kinds of religions where somebody needs to be coerced into something. And so it seems like the more liberal, maybe the more mystical ends of like each faith, they're the less interested in hell as a concept or just think it's not true. But then like the closer you get to the more rigid end of things, that's where it like you need hell. Otherwise that kind of religion falls apart.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something I haven't looked into too much, but like, obviously, it's one of those things that's really hard to nail down exactly like when the concept first came around, why exactly. But it really seems like there's just like several things. Like one, humans like we enjoy being alive, so the idea of like dying and that being it, people like, well, there's got to be something afterwards. So then you start thinking, okay, well, what's it going to be like? And like,
yeah, and especially if things suck so bad now, like. At times, or most of the time, at some level of suck, then like there has to be a reason for that, hence afterlife. But then there also needs to be punishment for the people that help the suffering that happens anyway. You know,
right? So because it's our sense of justice, I guess, because like there's so many things like kind of good and bad. Like either people seem to do a lot of bad things to get away with it, or people do a lot of good but don't get any reward or benefit from it. So it's like, well, there's got to be something else. I guess, like at least that's kind of what makes sense to me. Like I don't know, Jimmy, if you had any thoughts? If that's something you've looked into much, and like where the concept even came from, or
Well, I know that I was thinking this when you guys were talking, that Catholics, who are pretty much the original Christians, I guess, are pretty close to it.
at least that's what they say anyway.
At least the lasting one. Like
They don't believe in hell. So I don't know where the fuck it came from. I be honest with you, and this is just me guessing. It could be anything. I don't know. I'm only 56 years old, so I wasn't around when this shit started. But it just seems like something that they use to keep people in line. We're going to make you scared that you're going to be tortured and feel pain for the eternity. So we're going to tell you that this crap exists, even though there's no way of us knowing that, to keep you in line so you can follow our church leaders and do what they want you to do, and we ain't got to worry about you. So, I mean,
it's
such a ridiculous concept
in
the first place that I'll be honest, I never really sat and thought about it because it's just so ridiculous. But I don't know, just peripheral thinking about it throughout the years. It's pretty much all I come up with. It's just a tool to use to keep the commoners in line, I think.
Yeah, it's weird because like there's some people that you meet, there seems like they have a personal need for there being a hell. Like they're not okay if there isn't a hell, basically.
Right.
And so they're like signed on to the idea. And then because they have it makes things feel balanced in them. But then you have like people in charge of different organizations and definitely, church doctors and stuff. Where then it's definitely used to like convince the people who like don't have an inclination to need the belief of hell, to convince them that it's real so they can be controlled. But it's other people, like they're willing to be controlled because they need it. Like they need that idea,
I saw a clip earlier today, an old Atheist experience clip with Matt Dillahunty, and I can't remember the young lady's name. But this guy was calling in. No. It was a different one. I'm sorry, not with the lady. Well, maybe it was with the lady. Well, no, I'm sorry. I'm getting mixed up. Matt was recounting something that happened before. This guy said that, was it even Matt? No, it wasn't even Matt. I'm so silly. It was the English guy, Ricky Gervais.
Oh, yeah.
About how this guy said he was a fundamentalist creationist, right? And he was telling Ricky was explaining this to that one guy on the show the one guy who does a talk show with the ear, this big messed up ear that I guess happened.
Oh, Colbert?
Yeah, Colbert. Yeah. So he was on Colbert's show talking about how this guy was saying that this guy was going to go to hell. He goes, you can leave all your science. What good is your science going to do you if you're going to go to hell and you're going to be raped by Satan, right? And he goes, and then Ricky Gervais goes, and this is my favorite part, and I'm going to be there laughing. So this guy, who's a fundamentalist creationist, who just loves God and all this other stuff, and does everything by the Testament and everything, he's going to be in hell too. And it's going to make him laugh to watch me get raped by the devil. That's going to make him feel better because he's still in hell.
Yeah.
I find it very bizarre.
Yeah.
So much like, why do you think you're going to get to take part in my torture or get to witness my judgment from God? That doesn't make damn sense.
And why does that excite you?
Exactly. It's like, you guys are freaking weird.
Yeah, and why would it? That's like a really important missed like self-reflection point for that guy to be like, you're excited that somebody's gonna get raped by like the head demon. Like,
right. It's like,
what's wrong with you that you like that?
There's something mentally wrong with you that you would get enjoyment out of somebody being tortured for the rest of eternity.
And it's like, okay, who's the bad person in this situation?
Yeah.
The one cheerfully talking about sexual assault, or the one who's like,
yeah,
you're messed up. Like,
Yeah.
if you're such a good person and you love Jesus and God so much, you should not want to have part of that. You should be sad that I have to go through that, but know that it's a necessity, I guess. But you're too busy enjoying the love and breadth of Jesus and God and the angels and everything in heaven to really care about what's going on in hell. So that demeanor or just way of thinking just further lends itself to me that you guys are so full of shit. You guys are just mad because you believe some crap, and we logically put out stuff there, and you have no way to refute it because logic is logic. And they get mad and go, "Well, yeah, when you get fucked in the ass by the devil, I'm just gonna laugh." How are you gonna know? We're gonna die at the same time. It's like the buddy system in the army. We're gonna go together.
And why would you want to know?
It's just so exactly. I wouldn't want to know. I wouldn't want to know.
I mean,
there's so many layers of things that like don't make sense and like make somebody a bad person for like being on board with hell. They're like,
which again, I mean, not kink shaming. That's a bit of an odd kink to have. If you like, I don't remember seeing that channel on porn.
Okay, okay, let's just say probably the devil in this situation is always consenting for this. In this storyline, that makes sense. But okay, what if dude goes to hell and like that's just his idea of heaven, because don't want to kink shame. Then
if that's his thing,
how do we? Then that guy's gonna be like, well, never. Your heaven looks like hell to me. Like, it just seems like a matter of perspective. Not saying many people at all would want to be in a hell if it was real, but there is that outlying chance.
Anything like angels flying around and you listen to flute music and there's clouds and shit, I'd rather go to hell.
And then God floating around going, look at me, I'm amazing.
If I can't listen to music and watch porn while I'm in heaven, I don't want to be there. Fuck that.
I mean,
there you go. There you go, Tommy. There's another way I'm going to hell. I'm watching porn.
There we go. Yeah, along the way, we're going to see, like, we don't believe it's real, but just in case it is, we're going to try our damnedest to get there.
Watching porn and listening to music with explicit lyrics.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I'm fairly certain most of my music would not be allowed in heaven. But
and I'm gonna ejaculate on my Catholic girlfriend's face. There you go. That'll get me go straight to hell right there.
I don't know. There's probably a whole lot of priests that would be like,
exactly. Man,
they're like, nice.
Yeah. I see
They'd
what
be
you
jealous.
did there.
I got jokes for that, but I'm not gonna go there because I don't want to be. Yeah, I got some bad ones, but I'll be nice. Speaking of priests, I'm just gonna leave that one alone because it could get pretty bad. But you know what I'm talking about. But anyway,
we don't want to go to.
I got a bunch of different ones when we get into it of how to get to hell. You're gonna fucking love it. But anyway, go ahead.
But just back to the whole concept of like people enjoying the idea of other people in hell and how that doesn't really seem to fit. Like you were saying, like if anything, it should be like, I know that's where you're going to go, but I'm going to feel sad that you're there, but be kind of conflicted because I know this is, at least according to the theology or whatever, this is the just and right thing for God to do. And like, so I guess some people, just faced with that kind of cognitive dissonance, probably particularly the more fundamentalists, well, definitely the more fundamentalists, like they just look at it, okay, it's plain and simple as this is justice. This is God's rightful act of punishment for these people. This is what they deserve. So that's why they go just full into, I have to like this because this is what God's doing and I have to like what God's doing. So they'll say shit like this pastor, I don't remember. I think it's one of the guys you mentioned earlier, Jimmy. I can't remember his name though, but he'll say things like as soon as like, he has this quote, like people have like turned it into memes and like put it online. It's something along the lines of, as soon as you die and take your first step through the gates of hell, the first thing you'll hear is the loud cheer of God and his angels and all the saints in heaven cheering that you're burning.
That sounds like Greg Locke.
He's like, it wasn't Greg Locke, it was somebody else, but he said Anderson. I think it was
Anderson, the guy from Phoenix. I mean, the guy from Arizona.
Yeah, maybe but he basically saying like you'll hear all this cheering is like that's how terrible you are as a person. It's like
that's a projection.
What's funny is you guys understand that fundamentalist Muslims feel that way about Christians.
Mm-hmm.
And Jews.
Oh yeah, I actually had a fun conversation back when I was a Christian. I was talking with this guy who was Muslim, who's from Saudi Arabia, and we were talking to each other. You could tell he was definitely trying to like convert me. And at the time, I wasn't necessarily like actively trying to convert him.
Wait, is that when the guys living in your house?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was when we were like hosting like international students. Like,
so that's all kinds of awkward.
Oh, yeah,
you're like, dude, I feed you and you live here.
Now the thing is, like, this was like he was a really cool guy. Like, we got along great. So this was like a good natured conversation. So we're talking. It's like. So, but we just got to the point in the conversation where, you know, we're going kind of deep into stuff. And I remember at one point looking at, I think he actually asked me, he's like, so you think I'm going to hell, don't you? I'm like, oh yeah, but you think I'm going to hell too. He's like, yeah. Okay. So it's like, we had an understanding. It was almost touching.
No, but that's actually a good conversation. Like, that's like as far as that conversation can go well, is like you both come to the understanding at that point that like, yeah, you think you're right, that person's going to hell, and you're like, cool, you want a beer?
It's like, no, I don't, I'm Muslim.
Holy shit.
What was that? Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, that was always the fun thing. Like,
well, they can't because the Jews love to drink wine, so like at least that's in the literature, and there's probably like grape juice and hallucinogenic herbs. But
can I interest you in some bacon, my friend?
Yeah,
it smells like people cooking.
It smells like people cooking.
No, it does. I burnt my finger once with a soldering iron. Had to go to the emergency room because it hurt so bad, and but it smelled like a pork belly.
Did it really?
It made me hungry. Like, I was like, and I told the ER nurse that because I didn't care. I was a little loopy from just being in so much pain, and I said, my skin's kind of smelled like cooking pork, and that's like it made me hungry. And she just goes,
yeah, well, yeah, because it doesn't like anatomically speaking, like pig anatomy.
It's very, very similar.
That like I think they actually use like pig carcasses for like ballistics tests to see like what will this do to a person. Like
here's what's wacky. Like not just is it similar, but there's like certain organ layouts and like shapes and stuff that like aren't in primates that are in people and are in pigs. They're not in apes.
Right.
It's in pigs, but we're apes. It's like, but we've got a lot in common with pigs.
Yeah. We share the same ancestors as apes, but we're not apes. So I mean, we're not common day apes as far as those.
We're different types of apes than
type of apes. So there's bound to be some differences, but I mean, hey, don't we share like 98.something% DNA with chimps?
Mm-hmm.
They're our closest on the planet.
Yeah, chimpanzees, but the thing, and also we are also their closest relative because like a lot of people think like, well, all the apes are over there, they just happen to be the one we're closest with. Like, no, they're closest to us than they are all the rest of the types of apes too. Which now this is like total side tangent, but we've tripled the ADHD power tonight, so y'all motherfuckers going to have to deal with it.
I got you a shirt that says ADHD pride. Anyway, go ahead.
I need one of those, but. I found out that
we gotta make an ADHD flag, and all the stripes are just wicked patterns. Like,
that would be so hilarious. What's wrong with your flag? Hey, we're ADHD. Hush your face.
Like, I love it. One of them is just a kangaroo smashed into a stripe or something.
That would be hilarious. All kinds of. Why the leprechaun on your flag? Like I said, we're ADHD. Mind your business.
It's like. Here are 6 things that have nothing to do with each other, all on one flag.
Mm-hmm. Make it happen, Matt.
I might.
But something I found out that like blew my mind. That kind of shows like how much genetics can go towards how things like look versus like other differences. I found out that humans are genetically closer to bonobos than African elephants are to Asian elephants. Like that we consider like almost like the same species, but like that like I just found that out like several months ago. It blew my
Yeah,
mind.
I've heard that in the past. That that you said bonobos and humans or bonobos and chimps.
No, humans are closer to bonobos genetically than
African
African.
are the Asian elephants, right? Exactly.
Yeah, and
And
because most
That's
people
nuts.
probably think, especially going back to the whole like the Ken Hams of the world, who they're trying to figure out, well, how can we fit all the animals on the ark? It's like, well, they're all just different kinds. It's like so.
my dad was paid specifically to hold a banana. Anyway, go ahead. Guy's a fucking nut.
Yeah,
That guy's a freaking nut.
which like what else fits in your hand? Just
Exactly.
Like that. And in
But
your
don't
mouth.
do that. Just use the banana.
And he's like, and he was very clear. He didn't want it like the contents exploding in his face. He prefers to just swallow the whole thing. He doesn't want any on his face.
It's like, so what you're saying, Ray Comfort, is I shouldn't masturbate. I should fuck a banana.
God. Like, you know what else fits right in my hand there, Ray Comfort? You know what fits right in my hand there, buddy? A dildo you need to pick up your ass and go home and fuck yourself with. That's what.
In the video, he had the banana behind him on the seat, and when he pulls it out, it looks like he's pulling it like out his ass.
Wow.
he like leans over and he's like, the banana. And you just see the look on
right now to go to hell. Isn't that wonderful?
Kirk, you see the look on Kirk Cameron's face, and he's just like, "Oh, we're doing this. This is real. This is happening." Okay. Oh, I thought this was a joke in rehearsal. Okay.
Matt, you know what sucks? I really liked Growing Pains when I was younger. Poor that Kirk guy just turns out to be the biggest.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? I don't care what nobody says. His sister is freaking gorgeous.
His sister?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. She was the oldest sister on
Full House.
Full House.
Yeah.
She looks hot now.
And she's a fundamentalist too.
That shit crazy too. Yeah.
Yeah. I blamed her parents.
But she married a guy. His last name is Buell. I think Bule. I think is her husband's last name.
Yeah. Candace. She's
Candace Cameron Buell
or Burr or something. Yeah.
It's Bule, I believe. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Batshit crazy too, but still gorgeous.
Yeah, that's when the whole like crazy hot scale like comes into play. It's like,
but like what did Charlie say in the 2.5 minutes? Sex with crazy chicks is great. Just make sure you see her hands at all times. My favorite episode, the Christmas one, where the lady is there and she made up the whole house and Christmas decorations. She really believes Santa is real. It's my favorite episode.
I didn't see that one.
So funny, dude. She's hot. She's crazy.
So I'm gonna add to that on How I Met Your Mother. That show, there was a bit about the crazy hot scale, like the hotter a woman you think a woman is, the more crazy you're willing to tolerate.
Right.
And like one of the indicators is the crazy eye, and the way they play it out on the show is like she makes like this intense eye contact with the main character, and he looks in her eyes, and there's like a little spiral in her pupil. I was like, that's not really what it looks like because I've seen it, but that's what it feels like.
I really need to watch that show more, and the reason why I didn't really get into that show because I like Barney. Mm-hmm. Freaking hilarious because in real life he's a gay guy, but in the show he plays this really raunchy,
it's like the perfect like what the frat guy is after graduating college kind of thing.
I couldn't get into that show because I think the lead character, not the guy himself, but the character he plays is such a pussy. I can't stand the guy. I couldn't get past the show. You could, I mean, I look at this guy and go, Jesus Christ, can he have like a spine for like one episode? Just please, just one spine? Just a little bit of a spine, maybe? I don't know. Maybe he just rubbed me the wrong way. I need to watch it again. My friend who I share a Plex account with, well, not share an account, but we're Plex friends.
Mm-hmm.
He can watch my stuff. I can watch his stuff. And he has that show. So maybe I need to watch it more. But
it has its moments. And I think you're not, I think you're supposed to like have empathy for Ted, but I think you're,
really?
So I think you're supposed to also have the feeling that he's a sad sack.
Oh, okay. If that's what it's supposed to be, then I guess I can give it another shot because it's been decades since I tried to watch the show. Decades.
Now I will say, like, I haven't seen all the way to the end of the series because I told my wife I wouldn't until we watched it together, and it was like forever ago. So I'm still waiting on that. But I had it spoiled how it ends, and I'm not going to spoil it. But I also wonder if the reason why they played his character out like they did is because it makes meeting the mother more important later. Because you're like, he is a sad sack and kind of a miserable person to watch. and like each girl that he's with seems to like bring part of him that he's missing. I don't know if his character actually develops well enough to like incorporate that into the character, but I think it kind of feels like he's looking for himself in other women. I took a college English class when I was in high school. I just think maybe too deeply about stories.
No, that's good. It's a good thing, I guess. Yeah.
So maybe he is just a poorly written character, and I just wanted to like justify liking the show. That could be it too. I mean religion.
9 seasons of that show.
Yeah.
So it's not a show that was just around for a second. It started in 2005 or 2004, something like that.
I don't remember.
Yeah, 2005 to 2014, I think is what it was.
Man, that's right before everything went to shit. Like 2008 was when 2020 started.
Yeah, that's when the housing bubble just popped in 2008.
Yeah.
Real estate went to shit in 2008 because as a matter of fact, that's funny because that was at the time that I was working I was a junior loan officer. For
my
guy who I knew, and I worked for him for 5 years. But that time was like really crazy. It was super crazy.
Yeah. I remember the housing crisis back in like the end of the first decade of the 2000s, the aughts or whatever we're calling that first decade. That was the first time where some sort of big like catastrophic event led to me being laid off from working like live hotel events. The second time being like, I guess I didn't learn my lesson after that layoff. It's like, I got to make it back to that industry. And then COVID happened. It was like,
people aren't going anywhere, let alone hotels.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So, it looked like Jimmie was doing some research there.
Yeah, I was looking at how many seasons it was on because I was wondering how long that show was.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess it was only on. It only started like 2 decades ago, and I think the last time I tried to watch it when it was pretty new.
So long ago.
Right. So I was like in my 30s when that show started.
Oh wow!
I turned 32 in 2000. So
I think I was still single.
Yeah, 2000. Well, 2000. That's when I had my first girlfriend. It didn't last long, but
wait, that's when you were in high school?
Yeah, I graduated in 2001.
I was no longer in college and working at an Office Max, which I then got fired from.
So the
month after I was employee of the month. So go me.
That way. Whoops, wrong way. Tommy is the baby.
Yeah, in this group, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm grandpa. I was graduated high school in 86. So
I graduated in 96.
Yeah, so I only got you about 10 years, brother.
Yeah. I graduated high school 01. Yeah. So
jeez.
At least you weren't the ones with the 00 on your sweatshirt or jacket.
I've seen those people.
No, it was great. So we were able to use like for like our senior year, like the big like we were able to use the whole like 2001 Space Odyssey in some fun ways.
Man, just thought about that. When you graduated high school, my two oldest kids were already born.
Mm.
And they're 28 and 27.
Oh yeah, I mean I remember when I was speaking of like, we were.
Wait a minute. My youngest was born too. He was born in April of 2001.
Ah, so yeah, just right before I graduated. So yeah, that for me that was one of the weirdest things. Speaking of like hosting international students, so when I was 36, we hosted these two students from Japan who were 18 when they moved in, and I'm like,
nice.
I'm like, you're half my age.
Math works, Tommy. Math works.
Yeah. like you could be my kids. Like that was one of the weirdest.
But not old enough to date. Isn't the rule half your age plus 7 or something?
You talk about the Nation of Islam. Oh my God.
Wait, what?
No, not that. No, not that. The whole like just the general rule of like in order to date someone, half your age plus 7.
Did you ever watch Malcolm X with Denzel Washington?
No, I haven't seen that.
That's exactly what what's his name? Elijah Muhammad was talking about. You find a woman, she's half your age plus 7. That's exactly what he said.
Oh, but he was like with no bottom on that number, right? So
half his age plus 7. Yeah. So if I'm 56, I got to marry a woman who's 28 plus 7, so 35.
Yeah, that sounds like Old Testament math to me.
Yeah, that's exactly what I remember. His character said that to Denzel Washington. Find you a good woman and follow the words of Muhammad and Allah. Make sure she's your age plus 7 or something to that effect. But he did say that. Remember that.
But didn't Muhammad have like a 13-year-old wife or something?
No, Elijah Muhammad said this, not Muhammad.
No, but I mean, I know, but like Muhammad in the Quran, like or in history or something, wherever they found this, he had teenage wives.
Yeah. What was her name?
It's like that's not half your age plus 7.
Aisha or something.
Huh?
But Aisha or something.
Yeah, something like that. But she was more than half. She was less than half his age plus 7, definitely.
Yeah.
When he married her, she was what, 9, I think.
Oh shit.
But he didn't have sex with her. She was 12.
Oh, well,
no.
Morals.
Well, you gotta have standards.
God.
So
imagine even being attracted to a 9-year-old child. That's just gross.
Yeah, so let's talk about hell again. That sounds
Speaking
like
of hell.
Oh, there you go. I can go to hell. I can go have sex with a 9-year-old. There you go.
Yeah, that's one way to go there. If there is a hell, if anyone deserves to go there.
Here's the thing. Go. Okay, here's what's crazy. I just thought of this. I don't know, meditating on paper earlier. And like this thought's kind of a continuation of that. But it's like the people that kind of people everywhere at least have like in their gut a little bit about like who's a bad person is the people who like impose their will on other people. But there's, depending on the culture, there's a level of imposition that like it takes for somebody to be evil. So like in general, people think if there is a hell, the people who are in hell are the people who like violate other people's will in some dramatic fashion. Right. But then isn't hell a violation of someone's will in a dramatic fashion? Like it's like the pinnacle of that. So the people who go to hell, they go to like a place where it's.
When you start thinking about it, Matt, it all falls apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like it's all fun and games until I want to ask people who believe in hell and like people should go there. I'd be like, okay, would you send them there? Like, would you punish someone for eternity if it was just up to you? And then if they say yes, then be like, are you a bad person? Like, if someone punished you in hell for eternity, like, are they a bad person? Like,
isn't there a point where you learn your lesson? Like,
Yeah.
Well, that too. Yeah.
It's like, dude, all religion falls apart under the scrutiny of thought. That's it. It just does, because you say something and then you think about it for a few minutes and go, wait a minute, that's dumb because of this.
Well, yeah, and I'd say logic and evidence, because like science, which like science is we all know this, but I'm just going to say it for anybody who might be listening. Science is like you have an idea that might be true, and you try to prove it wrong, and if you prove it wrong, now you come up with a new idea that fits what you have now. And religion is not that at all. It's like new information, and you damned. Like
he turned into a pillar of salt. I know it's impossible, but the Bible says it's true, so it happened.
Yeah, like no, people had it all figured out back in the day when they thought the earth was covered by a glass dome and there was water above it, and the earth was held up by pillars, and underneath that was turtles or whatever. And like, and you're like, oh, well, we know that's not true, so why should we trust anything else they came up with?
Yeah, that's that's something we talked about before, where it almost seems to be like a measure of faith is essentially how good are you at denying reality, because people say will say things along the lines of, well, when the reality in front of my face contradicts scripture or contradicts my faith, then I'm just going to go with my faith. And I'm like, yeah, we have a word for things that contradict reality. Wrong.
Kind of like, I always find it very funny how religion is the only place where people will say, well, not everything in the Bible is 100% really, some of it's allegory, and you got to figure out which ones is right. I was like, they don't do that in a math book. All the problems, all the fucking solutions in there work.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, 1 + 1 is 17. Oh, I'm sorry. 3 chapters later, we were just joking. 1 + 1 is 2, actually. They don't do that in the fucking math book, but they do it in the Bible. Really? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. It's just so stupid.
Yeah, those 3 magical words. Yeah.
What's nice? Like hell isn't even in the Bible quite so much.
Actually, it isn't. You're right. It isn't.
I mean, it's in there.
At least not. Yeah, at least not the way we.
Yeah,
like definitely not the way.
Concept, but not even in all of it. And even when Jesus talks about it, supposedly, which he may or may not have been, because he either was talking about a real place or using a real place as a metaphor, and it's kind of like he doesn't say which one he's doing, and this isn't a parable, like exactly. So they're like, okay, we can draw no conclusions except Jesus thought Gehenna was bad, didn't want anybody to go there. We're like, where was it? Was it real? We don't know. That seems important.
So this is something that like drives me crazy, just like kind of the general concept. But when it comes to hell, like specifically, so one of the things while I was in my like deconstructing phase, like more like progressive Christian universalist, like all that stuff, that really kind of helped me like find my way out was when I would be wanting like actual answers on things. Also, this is remember like the mindset I was in. This was around the time I was going through having like stage 4 cancer, like thinking I'm dying, and then like coming out of that. So it was like, I want to actually like figure out what's like real, what's really going on here. So I'm like,
I've seen what's at stake.
Yeah. So, but when it came to like anything in the Bible or in Christianity or faith that like just didn't make sense, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Why does this not make sense? And I kept getting this answer like, oh, well, it's supposed to be a mystery. Like it's something we're supposed to wrestle with. Like it's like wisdom is a journey. We're supposed to like find our ways. Like, yeah, that works with things like wisdom or whatever, like trying to figure out what you're supposed to do with different situations in life. Mystery is not for, am I going to be tortured forever when I die? That should not be a mystery.
Right. That's like
that seems like the torture starts now.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why, like, if you go back to like Christian history, there's like all these different theories. Like even within the Bible, there is no single like version of hell. There's like all these different ideas. Like there's like the Jewish idea, and then like the like Greek influence from that you get in the New Testament, and then how like in modern times, like modern Christianity or like other faiths, really more of our concept of hell is more influenced by Dante than the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that somehow reference Dante's Inferno?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because so.
And then we get the devil from, well, not completely, but the kind of Christians tend to think that version of Christians tend to think about as like a foil to God. That's Zoroastrianism.
Yeah.
But the devil is like an accuser or an adversary. That was totally a guy who worked for God in the Old Testament.
Oh yeah, yeah. In the Old Testament, yeah, wherever it says like Satan, it's like literally like from the Hebrew Hasatan, which just means like the accuser or the adversary. So
He's
like,
cast out, right?
what's that?
He's the guy that was cast out because he, I guess, questioned God or whatever, or challenged or something.
That would have been Lucifer, but Lucifer, the Morning Star character, that was probably a real guy nicknamed the Morning Star, wasn't it? It was like a ruler of Persia or something.
I think so. Yeah, I heard some theories about that, but yeah,
people were like, let's overlap Zoroastrianism, where there's like a counter to God, but combine it with this other concept, and then and they're like, and it's all in the Bible, is what they said. It is not.
Yeah. What's interesting is so like Lucifer is referred to as the morning star, but I think also in some places like Jesus is actually referred to as the morning star as well.
Satan and the devil were all the same thing.
You thought what?
Lucifer, Satan, and the devil are all the same person.
Well, they are now.
Yes,
but
originally there was like Lucifer. What was we Christians made him into like a devil character, but it was probably talking about that king of maybe Persia, and then like was translated as devil or adversary or accuser or whatever. That seemed to be maybe like a demigod that worked for Yahweh.
Yeah, like in the story of Job, where it says, like in our modern English version, it just says Satan came to God and is like, hey, about your guy Job, I bet he won't worship you if like shit starts happening to him. God's like, fuck his shit up. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, they're having a pissing contest at the water cooler, basically.
So that character, like in our modern English Bibles, it just says Satan, but in the original Hebrew, it's just Hasatan, meaning the accuser. So in the story, it's like he's just like another member of like the council of deities. So that's another fun fact is in the Old Testament that Israel was not always monotheistic. Like you can see all throughout the Old Testament, like there's references to, that's why it says things like in the 10 Commandments, like you shall have no other gods before me. It doesn't say there are no other gods. It's like, okay, they're out there, but I'm yours. You got to put me ahead. So in the story of Job, like that character that we now call Satan in the story is not at all what we currently think of as Satan. It was just someone who was in like the heavenly council, and because it literally just means the accuser or the adversary. So he was literally there to accuse, say like, oh, your guy Job, I bet he's, he
was like the prosecuting attorney, basically.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
And God's the judge, or Yahweh's the judge in that scenario.
Has anybody who is a Christian ever just said, we don't have to worry about hell if God would just kill or get rid of the devil? Is there want to destroy the devil? Have you ever, I guess my question is, have you ever gotten any kind of a satisfactory answer to that question of why won't God just destroy the devil?
I don't know if it's okay, because like long before I got out of Christianity, I got into apologetics. It's like a hobby. And
we're awesome people.
Yeah, because like I must have been a terrible person for a little bit, because I think like the reason why you want to get into apologetics is because you're like, I need to justify these things that feel terrible to me about what I believe.
Right.
I'll be right back.
Okay. And so it was enough, but I wouldn't say it was satisfactory. All right, so God's going to just destroy the devil eventually, according to Revelation. And then like, so why does he do it now? And then, okay, well, it's not time yet. And we're like, why not? It seems like it should have happened, like before Eden. Like when that snake started getting ornery, just kill it. Like, why did all this have to play out? And it wasn't the right time. And basically it's the fundamentalist Job answer. It's not the right time. Who am I to know what the right time is? All that stuff.
God can make it the right time anytime he wants to. He's all powerful. He created everything.
Right.
Like, how is there such a thing as the wrong time? Yeah.
But I wanted to keep believing. And because I wanted to keep believing, I took a bad answer.
Think about this, man.
Yeah.
If God exists outside of time, then it's always the right time and it's always the wrong time because time doesn't affect him. So
that's true. Yeah.
Answer of it wasn't the right time yet. It's a bullshit answer because time does not apply to God.
And then people are like, okay, well, if they might say, okay, well, right, God could do it any time, but it's in our best interest to let these terrible things happen and then change it.
Really?
And then it's like, well, first, that kind of sounds like we're God then, if God has to like meet our needs. And that's a little messed up and also very human.
Yeah,
and then
very human.
Like, oh shoot, I lost my train of thought.
Not again.
While he's thinking of that, I'll play a little ditty by. No, I'm just kidding.
We need a special like ADHD. I lost my train of thought theme.
Yes,
to play.
We need a stenographer to read back the minutes.
We need an ADHD wrangler. Just come in and rain. No, bring your brain back over here. Come on.
Wait, so there was something about wanting. All right, so if God's outside time, then like everything's happening simultaneously for God. So there's nothing that has to play out a certain way. Yeah. And
well, it's even more complex than that, man. If he exists outside of time, not only has things already happened for him, but it's just like it's in a place of how do you explain this? Somebody said it one time. I can't remember how they said it, but it's like a state of existing all at once, everywhere at the same time. And we can't comprehend that because it's like I tell people all the time, reason why we can't comprehend death is because we crossed over from not existing to existing, and it totally freaks us out. And the problem is that we're self-aware. If we weren't self-aware, dying wouldn't be that big of a deal. I mean, you wouldn't want to die. But what would be more important that would scare you is not actually being dead. What would scare you is the way you die.
Yeah, it's usually not pleasant.
If I died the way my grandmother died, fucking awesome. She was totally asleep. She had no idea she died or she was dying. No idea. Because they came in and they said she looked like she was still sleeping. They had no idea she was passed away. I was like, that's how I want to go. I don't want to see it coming. Just totally peaceful. They like she was sleeping in her same position, no signs of trauma or anything. She just lights just went off. So I think people freak out because they don't know that. Because I look at it this way. I had no feelings before I was here. What makes me think I'm gonna have any feelings or any kind of awareness after I'm gone? It's like it's nothing to fear. The only thing you should fear is the way you die, which is totally understandable because we're flesh and blood human beings. We're living human beings. No one wants to die by getting their head chopped off. No one wants to get died from a stomach wound because you don't die right away from a stomach wound.
I would prefer the head to the stomach.
Yes.
We're talking would you rather.
or burning to death. There you go.
Yeah. Oh no, that's the worst. You either find a place of Zen real fast or that like
it's drowning.
Yeah, because the only thing your body knows how to do is make you drown faster. Like try to breathe in, basically.
It doesn't really hurt. It's just that kind of fuck, I can't breathe, and because your brain's working, and fucking dying, and it doesn't hurt, and it's just like the worst shit ever. That and falling to your death. That's gotta be freaky too.
Oh yeah.
I would probably die before I hit. I would have a heart attack.
I was like, how do I make this happen faster?
I'm scared of heights, and my body would go like this. Bloop, blink. Here, look. Here's some flowers. here's a picture of a kitty. It would just put up all kinds.
This is when ADHD comes in handy.
My brain would do all kinds of things to keep me from just that ground going like this.
All right, nerdy comment. It would be like hitting warp 10. Like you'd just be everywhere at once. Your brain would just go, bah! And then you'd be like, I understand now.
Your brain really lets you see the tiger about to eat you. Does your brain do some psychedelic shit? Like I'm not gonna let him experience this at all. Bling, and it does.
No, I think that's true because if you watch a zebra get eaten by a lion, the zebra's freaking out until it knows it's over, and then it looks like it just did all the drugs and now it's just laying there, right? It's not dead yet.
It just goes blue.
Yeah.
Think about something else.
That's what I think. That's what DMT. Well, DMT I think has impact in like different social interactions and stuff, or like prayer and things like that. Like a lot of the, it's like the DMT chemical being released, and that's what's happening. Yeah. So I think there probably is like a ton of like opiate like effect things happening. Like if you let death happen, like when it's happening, if you're not like and just fighting it, if you just accept it when there's no other option.
I think we're all going to go to hell because we're not talking about going to hell.
I know.
And we keep going. Oh, right turn. Oh, look, a penny.
No, what if that's the thing? Like, what if it's only the people who take hell seriously that don't go there? That seems to be the rule.
That would be
like currently.
That would be hilarious.
And but like that really seems to be like. I was in a small group once, and somebody made a joke about hell, and it was actually funny. And there, like, it was something to the effect of somebody's going to hell, so like this isn't really any of their concern. That's something like that. And we all laughed, and then one guy goes, "We shouldn't be laughing. Hell's real." And then like everybody else is right, even me a little bit, because this is when I was like starting deconstruction, but most people in the group are kind of like, yeah, you're right. And then I'm thinking, why are we okay laughing? I think that means we don't really believe it. And then only this guy who got mad about it, and like he's the only one who really believes.
But now we all feel like, well, I need to believe too, so I'm going to be mad.
But then I was like, I won't do what you tell me to do.
I really don't think that most people really believe that the shit that's in the Bible or the Quran or the Torah or any other religious text is actually really real, because if they did, they would act demonstrably different. If they really thought.
Like if you really thought that most of the people around you were going to go to hell for eternity, and you could keep that from happening by like evangelizing, making sure they were saved, like Christians wouldn't be doing anything else.
And if you really Christian, you wouldn't be going out and doing the things that they say you're not supposed to do as a Christian, but you do it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that means it's either
believe it but don't.
Yeah. So that means either they don't believe it, really, or if they do, they don't really care about other people as much as they might want to say they do. Now, to be clear, I am not saying to all the Christians out there, please start evangelizing to me constantly. Like I'm glad you're not.
You're going to repeat each other very quickly. Please don't.
Yeah. Like several have tried. It just hasn't worked.
But even for their own behavior, though, I look at people who claim to be loving Jesus and stuff, and they still do things that, and they use an excuse. I know they use an excuse of, well, I'm not perfect, I'm learning, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But come on, bro. There's certain things that you wouldn't just say or do if you really believed in God and all this kind of stuff. You really believe the teachings of Jesus. Like these people who are evangelicals, they can't possibly thinking they're doing the work of Jesus. They hate people that look like Jesus. They even said they don't like Jews or trust Jews. Excuse me, but Jesus was a Jewish dude, you idiot.
Yeah.
You hate all Jews but him?
No, he was the first Christian.
Oh. Yeah. He un-Jewed himself.
There you go. Yeah, not.
You guys
isn't that like saying there really can't be like even the best Jew can't be Jewish? Like, is that what we're saying? Like,
because it's like they think that it's like dude,
that's not what we're saying. That's what they're saying.
It's like,
yeah, I was yes.
Yeah, you might that Jesus probably was a rabbi at some point.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was a rabbi. Yeah, in his time, he would have been known as Rabbi Yeshua Bar Yosef.
Yes, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a cool title.
Jews, really. So whenever I heard somebody say that, I'm like, you're an idiot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, even like Christianity, if you really think about it, is essentially just an extension of Judaism, because it all
Judaism 2.0.
Yeah. But because really what Jesus
Electric
did,
Boogaloo.
Because really, what Jesus, this is something I think what we were talking about on your show last week, Jimmy, is like Jesus is the Jewish Messiah.
Correct.
So if you believe in Jesus as the Messiah, he is the Jewish Messiah.
And Jews, so are you, or you should be. Yeah.
That, but Christians do about this Jewish guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Makes your head go, ah! It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So speaking of ridiculous, so back to this whole concept of enjoying people burning in hell. So this is like a question that I've asked, like I've posted on Facebook, like to friends and family, like saying, like after I deconverted and like kind of was public about it, like just asking things like, so like if first of all, ask like something I asked people recently is like, so if I were to ask a Christian, okay, am I going to hell? And this is like, and I even remember as a Christian thinking, well, this is like the nice way to answer that. It's like, well, I it's not for me to say, like, I'm not trying to judge. Like, I don't know your heart. And like, no, but I'm telling you, okay, tell me what I need to do to be saved and go to heaven. To say, okay, believe in Jesus, pray this prayer, whatever. Okay. I haven't done any of that. I don't believe any of that. Am I going to hell? And it's like, well, I don't really know. It's like,
and you're like, okay, look, fine. Okay, let's get the whole like maybe post-death like chance to repent. Let's say that I repent zero between like now and like the fork in the road, heaven or hell, right? I take, even, no matter how many chances are given me. Yeah, like what if I refuse every time? And then what happens? And they're like, well, they'd have to say, I believe you would. And you're like, why do you believe that? And like, eventually they have to say, because I want to. Like, or I have to believe it. Because it's like, no, you don't have to believe it. Like, you could just not believe it and be like, I'd rather go to hell, you know? Like, because if heaven is run by a dude that says I need to do this, then no.
Right.
Like, hell seems more egalitarian.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but yeah, like, so to me, like, just that answer of, like I said, even me thinking back to like when I was a Christian, this is what I thought. I thought saying something like, I don't know, or I can't judge. Like, I thought that was like the, nice way to answer.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
But really it's okay. First of all, it's a fucking lie. like, like I'm telling you, I do not believe in Jesus. I don't even believe in a God. I don't even believe heaven exists. And you're going to tell me, well, I don't know. It's like, no, according to your faith. And like, if I were to ask you, what must I do to be saved? And I said, okay, I'm not doing that. and then you're still saying, well, I don't know. Like, you do. But second, like, okay, but if you honestly don't know, again, going back to the whole like mystery thing and things that should or shouldn't be a mystery, is like, doesn't that bother you that if you're supposed to be evangelizing and bringing people, into the fold and winning souls or whatever, if you can't tell someone definitively if they're going to hell or not, like, isn't that the point of sharing the gospel? It's for you to be able to tell someone definitively, this is what you have to do. So, like, to me, like I don't know, like I would rather you just tell me, yes, I think you're going to hell. Like, because that's.
And then, like, if you ask them, like, do you think you're going to heaven? Somebody asked, either I asked somebody that or somebody asked me that in that prayer tent situation. And I was like, I think I said, I don't know. Because I was being honest. Like, this is like.
Pentecostal, man?
What?
Were you Pentecostal?
Okay, here's the thing. So that prayer tent. No,
worms open everywhere. Anyway, go ahead.
No, just it's a little complicated because all right, the church I went to was non-denominational / Reformed Calvinist or some shit. Like the past.
Yeah, it was a weird combination of like it was a very weird combination of charismatic Calvinist and
conservative, but that's not what we market ourselves as. And but this prayer tent situation was it was like a separate sect within this mega church, and
it was at like special events they would do, like camping events or retreats.
Like 1,000 guys show up, and it was like this big like camping revival type thing, which is cool. Like there were parts of that were awesome that I still miss, but like not the religious part.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The people part I miss.
No, of course, yeah, human beings.
Maybe
Are,
like having
very,
beer and the
Yeah.
whole like having beer and cigars at a church function. That was cool. So
Just hanging out around a campfire, talking to each other about like, where's your life awesome? Where does it suck? And then you like bond with people, and
yeah,
that's cool. So
Mhm.
in the prayer tent, it was a very Pentecostal environment and like a division within that church. Now that organization it was like a loose organization. It's been absorbed by the church, and there's a representative who's a staff member, but volunteering at these events with that ministry, now oversees that whole thing.
absorbed by which church, though?
Like the actual name of the church?
Yeah.
It's Crossroads Church in Cincinnati. It's the like.
Oh, so you guys live in the same area?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah, it's like one of two mega churches in this region. The other one is Vineyard, like, and then I don't know if it is quite as big anymore. Crossroads is shrinking in size. Like they all are, but yeah, Crossroads is kind of like everyone's welcome, and everyone is welcome to a point. Like if you want to get into certain like leadership in certain volunteer things or on staff at the church, like not everyone is welcome. Like there's a very clear line. Like you can be LGBTQ, like you can be queer and volunteer up to a certain point, but then your queerness is no longer welcome beyond a certain amount of responsibility.
Kind of like the Mormons were up until the 70s, where you can be black and be Mormon, you just can't be an important part of the church.
Yeah, you can be groupies. You come, every week, and
it's like we'll take your money. Yeah, sure.
Sure.
And we'll take your free labor. Sure. Yeah.
Supportive groupies. Yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Are you going to heaven? Probably not, but we'll take your money.
Hi, Emily.
Our friend who knows all the things, y'all. Yep.
All the things back at you.
Give me a second, guys.
I feel you. Yeah. So I'll ask people things like, okay, do you think I'm going to hell? And like, which I know, like, yeah, Chris also knows what's up. So true. Yeah.
Which
unfortunately. Well, clearly everything we've been saying tonight.
Oh well, of course.
But yeah. So I'll do the whole thing of like asking people like, do you think I'm going to hell? And like I said, like I know what their answer, like being a former Christian, like I know what the answer at least should be. It feels weird for me to say what the answer should be, but
yeah.
But just sorry, we're getting more comments. Yeah, everything quite literally. All right. Which is good to know, but also not good to know.
Also, but somebody's high.
Who? Yeah, so our friend Chris, I was with certain ages of children, only certain ages, because I'm queer. Because everyone knows straight people have never abused children. Because
yeah. Honestly, okay. I'm gonna say it seems like the largest scandal by far, meaning that I don't have anything else to compare it to. The largest scandal of any queer people, closeted queer people, probably abusing children, are in the Catholic Church, and I would say like a lot of these pastors who are abusing only boys, it's probably because they're queer and they hate themselves, and this is their outlet or whatever. Like they rationalize it somehow that like this is a good thing they're doing, which is not at all true ever. But like some people figure out how to justify that mentally. And isn't it crazy that like the only thing we have, like the only like real epidemic of abuse from queer people that we have in a religious context is from like officials themselves? And like that's something that like needs to be wrestled with because like there's a whole lot of projection going on within churches. And I'm not saying at all the reason why the priests did what they did was because they're queer. That's redonkulous, and I think it's so easy to refute. It's just dumb. But like, I think it's the context, like what they chose to like dedicate their life to is this utterly repressive thing. And like, you can't make part of yourself go away. And if you hate it so much, like it's like the more you hate it, the more problems it causes. Like, it seems like the more a Christian dude struggles with pornography, the more coinciding with that, the more he hates himself. It seems that the people who like don't hate themselves for looking at pornography are also the ones that tend to do it less. You know what I mean? Like, how many people? Like, I don't know. I've never heard of I have limited knowledge of this, but I've never heard of somebody who was addicted to pornography, who thought that was fine. You know what I mean? Like, the people who struggle with addiction, there seems to be like an amount of self-loathing involved.
Oh, well, yeah, I think that's true, because when you think about chemical addictions or any kind of drug addiction, alcohol addiction, there's always a little bit of self-loathing that's with that, because you feel you're doing something that you know is harmful or could be potentially harmful.
Yeah.
But you do it anyway, and there's a little bit of guilt that goes along with that. So
and then you think you need to be punished, and so you're like, let me do more of the thing that punishes me. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, no, just accept where you are, get help from someone, but like, you gotta let go of the self-hatred, because like, you can't label to get better. You've got to get past like labeling things as good or evil. Like, you can say like what I was doing was harmful, but if you label it as evil, now you're evil, and now healing can't happen. Like, you have to see yourself as good before you can heal from anything. Otherwise, there's no point.
But speaking of seeing like how you see yourself, we've already mentioned this church by name, but
no, fuck they.
I am willing to publicly shame them for that.
Did they seriously say that? Is that sounds like corporate speak?
I don't have enough middle fingers for this. But yeah.
I'm so angry. Also, upstream is where you came from in this metaphor. It's like you're saying where we came from is bad, and you're like, fucker, you came from there.
So, but I also want
these are your people. Like, don't start judging shit. Like,
So
people don't.
So Chris, a friend of mine, is like saying like, so the reasoning as far as like why he wasn't allowed to volunteer with the kids, like, reasoning was literally because if they wanted to play house, they would get confused because of me. How about you just fucking ask them, hey, we're playing house, who do you want to be? And he says, I want to be the blank. Okay, you're that. Like, why?
All right. Okay, here's the thing. If they want to play house because of someone, okay, all right. There are men and women who volunteer. This is what's so dumb about all of this. The double standards are like, I can't even make sense of it. All right, so like these double standards. Okay, Crossroads is in like an affluent area of Cincinnati. Not everybody who goes there is affluent. It's actually like a very like broad spectrum mix.
Pretty diverse, yeah.
But it seems like most of the people who volunteer, and this is partly my own experience and maybe a subjective view of this, most of the people who volunteer seem to be people who feel like they have the capacity to volunteer, which tends not to be the people who work lower paying jobs, because when you have that kind of stress, you are tapped out. And so I would say most of the volunteers come from like upper middle income or above. In that category, you have men and women who like to dress very fashionably, or they like to dress well. Okay, so you get like men and women in very like figure flattering clothes, and I'm not saying they should or shouldn't at all. Like, wear what you want, But if no matter who you're attracted to, you're gonna find something in someone to be attracted to. There's a reason why like conservative Muslim women, like even showing their eyes is too much, like in the culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you can make anything sexy if it's what you're attracted to. So
I can make anything sexy.
So this whole thing of like, okay, kids going into puberty, from my own experience, like they will be attracted to someone and they will imagine playing house with someone, like someone that they're around who's older. They'll be like, I like how that looks. I want to spend more time with that person. You know what I mean? Like there's like, and then your brain is wired to like fantasize about like relationships or whatever. Like,
Excuse
that's
me,
what I'm inspired to.
just so I got the proper context.
Yeah.
Is Crossroads a church or some kind of organization?
It's a church.
Interesting you point that out.
Yeah.
They call themselves an organization.
Oh.
And okay, their official name is Crossroads Church, but they kind of like often refer to themselves as an organization.
Yeah,
and really it's like a faith-centered philanthropic business. It's like a not-for-profit or non-profit that's also a church. So the church is the moneymaker for the philanthropic stuff.
So I take it this Crossroads is in Cincinnati or in the Cincinnati area.
Yeah.
They have also multiple locations. Yeah, but yeah, they're based
and a sizable
in
online presence too. In fact, that's been really big for them.
Yeah, we'll be talking a lot more about that church in upcoming episodes. So if people want to know more, we got lots to share.
I'm gonna have to go grab some chips. So hope it's not bothering anybody. I'm starving.
No, that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
In general, Crossroads is great for people until it isn't. Like,
really?
Yeah, that was our experience. Yeah.
Crossroads is the LGBTQ plus. Excuse me.
No, they will say they love the people, hate the sin. But hating the sin looks an awful lot like being intolerant of the people.
Yeah, it's like I've heard people say, well, if you try to turn that around on the Christians, say something like, well, I don't hate the believer, I just hate the belief. It's like they don't like that so much.
No, they get offended. And you're like, no, this is just something you think, okay? Like being queer is something people are.
Yeah, because that's like some of like the like criticism I've got with me, like being so vocal about the problems I have with Christianity is people saying, well, you're criticizing who I am. And it's like, so you see how they feel.
Exactly.
Like empathy. Shall I explain it to you?
Yeah.
Well, some asshole told me one time, well, they made a choice to be gay. I said, well, that's not true. But even if it was true, so what? That doesn't give you a right to be somebody because they made a choice to do something that they want to do. Screw you.
It's like, did you choose to be straight? It's like,
I mean, you're choosing to be an asshole, but I got to listen to you.
Everyone makes their choices. But yeah, like I said, we definitely have some episodes planned to go in a bit more detail about Crossroads and the church. So,
yeah, they had a deconstruction
so
series.
Emily and Chris, if you ever want to join in on those conversations, I'm sure you have some.
I'm definitely going to watch that because that seems interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. I would say Crossroads is they do what the kind of thing Crossroads Church is they're very good. I would say they might be at the pinnacle of what they are. Like they do it extremely well, to the point that like you don't know you're getting fucked.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah,
like marketing.
They give you that.
There's a bunch of like former P&G executives who have worked there or still work there.
Yeah. It's a church. You can tell it was started by a bunch of people from like corporate jobs
and people who like in Cincinnati who have worked for P&G or have somebody close who has. There's like corporate speak that's part of the culture there.
Really,
it's like a huge company, and they have Crossroads has like their own versions of that same kind of corporate vernacular.
How long
they're extremely good at focusing on the mission. but it's at the expense of anybody who gets in the way.
Wow.
And in their defense, a lot of them think they're doing good by steamrolling whoever gets in the way, because there's the assumption that the mission is good, and anybody who gets in the way, they don't know they're being bad, but we should still steamroll them.
How long they been around?
What was that?
Time. Pretty long time for a mega church. 90s.
Oh, they were been around since the 90s?
It's 20 something years. Like it's between 20 and 25. I don't remember exactly. But yeah.
It was like around the millennium.
Late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, something like that.
Now, and it's like it's a perfect example of like an organization can be bad. I don't want to say that. No, an organization can. No, I'm having a hard time just with myself, like labeling something as all bad or all good. Mm-hmm. It's an example of a group of people made up by mostly people who are great human beings, can follow the lead of ideas, not necessarily the people. It's just like the idea. They'll follow the lead of an idea towards hurting people, but like very few of the people doing this actually want to hurt people. But so many of them are convinced that like you have to hurt people to do the good thing, and like. So it's like it's tragic, and it's like it's hard not to be mad at the organization, and to hold people or the organization like accountable for things that it isn't. I want to do that. But really, and my wife used to work there, and she got fired, and through that experience, what I learned is. Most of the people, pretty much all of the people in charge are too busy. All of the ones that we had any kind of connection with, like through in-laws or personally, they're all too busy to care, or they're all too busy to feel like nobody knows enough to feel responsible for things. It's it's like a business hierarchy structure, and like managers are responsible for certain things, but then like the higher up you get, the more overworked people are, and so the less they can actually be aware of, and so
and then you add that layer of like the whole spiritual authority thing. So in the instance of like with your wife being fired, even though you said like this was for complete bullshit reasons, so there's like, well, I'm too busy to care, but I don't know if anyone actually said this or expressed this, but I'm sure was going on in a lot of their minds was like, I'm too busy, but I'm sure their boss had a good reason because...
Well, I confronted a guy in the men's room, which is the perfect place to confront your wife's boss 2 bosses up, because you're like, he just got done touching his wiener. I'm going to talk to him.
How long ago was she fired?
Like 4 years ago, I think, something like that.
So is she still religious or no?
Oh no, she was for a while longer than I was. That was like the big turning point for me in deconstruction, because I'm like, I held this church on a pedestal that it didn't need to be on. I'm like, what else do I have on a pedestal that doesn't need to be there? And
everything.
You got to remember that you haven't been an atheist for that long.
It's been a couple of years, I think.
Yeah, I've been an atheist for 20 plus years, so long.
Yeah. So.
Oh wait. Oh, so in response to what you said, Tommy, about so I confronted her boss 2 bosses up, and I'm like, look, this is terrible. I'm like, my daughter has special needs, and like the insurance from the church paid for like a lot of the stuff that would have bankrupted us, because just finding out what she had was stupidly expensive, like tens of thousands of dollars that like we didn't have, and so I'm like, look, I don't know how much money we're gonna have to spend on my daughter, and like we're going to spend it, so like, but like because my wife is getting let go. Like this is in jeopardy now, and it's bullshit. I'm like, she was on an improvement plan, and she improved by like 80% according to the improvement plan, and it wasn't good enough, and I let her go. And like the improvement plan was, in my opinion, definitely just like a show for any potential lawsuit in the future. It was like, oh, we did the thing they're supposed to do, and we're being ethical. And it's like, okay, but you didn't. So when I confronted him, he felt terrible. Like he didn't want this to happen, but he was removed enough from the situation that he did not feel able to weigh in at all because he knew so little, and he had to rely on the 1-up manager. No, I guess it's the 3-up managers for Aaron. He had to rely on the input from Aaron's immediate manager and that manager's manager, and that was not valid information. But he was so far removed from it. He's like, I can't do anything to stop this because like I don't know who to believe. And I was like, you fucker, and I get it. Like, because he is a decent guy. He was like, I feel terrible for you, and like we were both gonna cry, and like and I'm like, I want to hit you, but I know you feel bad, so I'm not, and also I don't want to go to jail. But no, but it just sucked. And then my father-in-law confronted like the head of the lead pastor of the whole shebang one time, and he's like, look, this is happening to my daughter, and oh yeah, the hush hush for real, man. I have a story that is not for the air because it is not my story to tell, but I will tell you if it's not recorded. Shit, what was I saying? Something about what's the last thing I was saying? Tommy. What was I saying?
You're real good at the hush hush? That's what
you're talking about. How like, let's see. So
my father-in-law talked. My father-in-law has been volunteering for a long time at the church, like nearly since the beginning. He's been. I don't want to out him because he's still volunteers and is into it, and I don't want to ruin his deal. But he confronted the lead pastor, and he, just as a father, like he's like, look, my daughter's getting screwed over. Here's what's happening. And the guy goes, so what do you want me to do about it?
Oh, wow.
And he's a blunt dude. I don't think he meant to be mean. I think he just meant to be like bluntly honest. However, like, for that to be okay to say that, like in your own head, like you have to be like, well, it's none of my business really what happens that far down in the chain. And I'm so removed from that situation. What do you want me to do about it? And it's like, this is your business. Like, this is how this place is run. Like, you are the guy in charge. If these kind of things are happening here, you are responsible in some fashion. Now, maybe not directly responsible, and maybe not in this case, you can weigh in because you don't know shit about what's happening. Like, I understand that. But, like, find out if this is a pattern that's happening here. Because, like, do you want people to get screwed over or at least feel like they are? Like, I mean, even if it's not really happening, if you have a lot of people thinking they are, that's also a problem.
Right.
And like, that's a culture thing that has to be addressed in some way. And you are the dude to make that happen. So it just became utterly clear that what makes a church big and successful is being focused on the mission at all costs, even if that cost is people. And I would say, like, it seems like Christianity, the mission is supposed to be people.
Right.
You would think.
But no, it's like the mission is an idea. And people are expendable towards an idea.
They're all going to hell.
If there is one, I think it's going to be a big surprise who's there.
All the atheists are going to heaven, and all the people who love Jesus and God are going to hell. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite concepts I've heard, or ideas, or theories, or whatever you want to call it. Like someone said, like, what if only atheists go to heaven? Because like after we die, God's like, look, I very purposefully made myself vague and not obvious at all, and the atheists were the only ones honest enough with themselves to realize that and not believe.
Right.
So, come on
in. And Jesus was accused of. You know, Jesus was accused of being an atheist by both the Jewish people and the Romans. Because he clearly didn't worship either one of their gods.
Sort of like he must be an atheist.
Technically, if you don't believe in certain gods that other people do, you're an atheist towards that God.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, he believes in Yahweh because he's probably, based on the myth, he is Yahweh, but in human form.
He never used the name Yahweh in the New Testament. Never once. He always referred to God as my father or your father.
Okay, so
which is like crazy interesting to me.
Okay, cool. But anyway, he didn't believe in the Roman gods. By the way, because Romans were polytheistic, right?
Yeah, they had their favorites, but yeah.
Right. And then you have the Jewish people who, of course, worshipped Yahweh.
Mm-hmm.
But
which originally was a pagan god himself.
Of course.
So
there were lots of religions that existed way before Christianity or Judaism. As a matter of fact, the oldest practicing religion right now is not even Judaism; it's Hinduism. Hinduism's been around freaking billion. No, I'm being hyperbolic, but it's been around for like close to 10,000 years.
Yeah,
I don't remember. It's been
ancient stories about stuff that happened before Hinduism.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, like a lot of it sounds like the Earth had an advanced race of people similar to us before, because like their oldest stories honestly sounds like people describing technology that they have no contemporary like understanding of. Right. I mean, it could also be just normal like God stories and stuff. But there's like characteristics to it here and there where it's like that sounds like somebody's describing something someone else saw. And now this person is like, but we got to make it make sense to people now.
Oh, so like that game of telephone. Gotcha.
Yeah, so they're the flying city, and it like dropped these like fireballs that created these mushrooms when they hit, like stuff like that. And it's like, well, that kind of sounds a lot like nuclear weapons. And it's like, doesn't have to be nuclear weapons, but it would be that kind of destruction that would be a reset for Earth like thousands of years ago that like humans could continue but have no like collective memory of that. So
I've often thought of that maybe there is some civilization or part of our civilization that existed and then vanished, and because of the way things happen, we collectively don't have any kind of verifiable or any kind of recollection of that civilization existing, because I hear all the dumbass fucking about how pyramids were put here by aliens. No, it wasn't. We did it. We just don't remember doing it, or whatever the case may be.
We don't even know how to do it now, which is crazy.
But I'm just...
Yeah, one of my favorite comments on that is like, look, just because white people didn't know how to do it doesn't mean it was alien.
and look, I'll be honest. White people have fucked a whole lot of shit up, and clearly we have bad answers for a lot of things.
Shitty answers, yeah. But yeah, I just go back to that when I've thought about that. You said that, and I think, Matt, and I think about that all the time. It's like, maybe there's just a part of our history that is, prehistoric, so to speak, that we just don't know because we didn't have any way to. No one saved it. No one archived it in any way, and it's just something that really escaped us. I'm not saying I know for sure that's what happened, but I'm just saying that's possible.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like if you look at all
Yeah.
right, so this is I don't want to go on a huge tangent about this, but there's some like super
late.
ancient structures in South America, especially where the stones are fitted together so tight and in such a way it looks like it looks like the stones were wet marshmallows and they were stacked together and then they dried. So there's these like a concave going into a convex surface, and they are carved perfectly to line up with each other, so much so that you can't put a razor blade between them anywhere along the crack, like for the whole length of the wall. And then there's some places the way it was cut is stupid hard. Like,
well, if you ever seen Japanese woodworking, it's just as amazing to watch them do that.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
But
this guy's doing this by hand. This is crazy.
But and we know how to do that because people are still doing it that way. But like nobody knows how to do the stones this way anymore. Like
lost skill.
We can only do it basically with computers and a milling machine now, and
can't do it by hand.
So like there is some kind of crazy artisanship that like has been lost, and even with all of our technology, we still can't do it. And so that leads me to believe I gotta think like humans have gotten dumber.
I think what you said earlier is probably more accurate. There was a reset.
Yeah, and if it was stones over time eventually become unrecognizable as anything.
I think this is the first time in human history that we're able to do what we're doing right now. I don't think this existed in the past at all. There's no evidence to support that. But other things that don't exist now that did exist back then, it's possible that doesn't exist because we've gone a different way. And like I said, some of those old ways have been forgotten. But I don't think there's any evidence to support that the internet or anything like the internet ever existed before.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem like and the materials are something that we still we can remember. There's nothing like. Nobody bit Back to the Past and go like in Back to the Future. Oh, here's the thing. Now we know how to build things because of that. That didn't happen. So it's just one of those things where I think that humanity went a different way than was what before. The artisanship, I don't think, is as important as it was back then.
Yeah.
Because the mind frame and what they were thinking about was totally different. The things that we worry about now, they didn't. That was never in a consideration back then.
And I'll tell you what, these stones basically, like the way they're connected together, they've survived earthquakes. Like this stuff was made so extremely well that it almost can't be destroyed by natural means. Almost. Like there seems to be some kind of intuition that like people have lost about I don't know, just how things make sense. And I think we've overcomplicated things. As we've gotten smarter, I think we've overcomplicated things, like understandings of the world and stuff.
I also think I don't mean to interrupt you, but I also think they probably had, because we have so many freaking distractions now. They didn't have any distractions, so they were able to just concentrate on doing one thing and one thing only, and nothing else mattered because they didn't know what was going on 5 miles away. They didn't care. They just did.
Yeah, that's why I like to say when people say like, how did they do this without all this technology? It's like because they didn't have all the technology, like they didn't have anything else to do. Like this is just
but they had thousands of years to perfect however they did that, and
like the reason why more kids were athletic when I was a kid because we weren't sitting in the house playing video games and on TikTok and all that kind of stuff. It was different. We had to go outside and play. That was the thing. Go outside. That was our thing because I was born in 68. Right. So during the 70s and 80s, the thing was go outside and play. Go outside. Yeah. My dad would be like, if you ain't got nothing to do, I can find something to do for you. See ya. I'm out. Yeah. So that's there's a different there's all kinds of paradigm shifts that happen throughout human existence. Some are not, some are not as good as it was before, and sometimes it gets better. Well, most of the time it gets better. But there's certain things that are like, don't get me wrong. I wish I had all this shit when I was a kid. To be honest with you. I'm just telling you, it's much. This stuff is cool. I don't have a problem with technology at all.
Yeah.
My point is, our childhood was different because we had to use our imagination more. We were outside more. We didn't have cell phones. None of that crap. You wanted to call your friend if they weren't at home. You just had to wait till they got home or they called you.
Yeah, or you rode your bike over there or walked over there.
Right. Yeah. They weren't home. She said, well, where's he at? Well, he went to the thing. Oh, okay, he's down at the rec center. Okay, I'll find him at the rec center. That's how you got in touch with people back then. Nowadays, it's like everything is so instant. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying it's different. That's
different. I think like I see that like when I was growing up, we dealt with a lot of the same stuff that like kids are now. It's just the context is different.
Yeah.
And like in my case, all right, so like these days, it's super easy for kids of like pretty much as soon as they want to, they can access pornography on the internet, unless their parents have something set up. But even then, like if their friends don't and they have a phone, then. So in my case, I was exposed to like pornographic ideas on the school bus because there was a girl who rode our bus in our neighborhood. She was she was straight, but she was really into gay dude porn.
Oh Lord!
It blew my mind. Like I was like, you're what and you're what at the time. And
well, I think it's the same for women because guys like to watch girls on girls.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, that was around, like, I think freshman year high school, maybe 7th or 8th grade. I don't remember when we started sharing buses with high school kids. And that was also, like, I learned how to make, like, BB gun darts out of straight pins that you could shoot through, like, a pen tube, and they would stick in the bus seats. Or people. That was great.
I remember those, yeah.
But, like... Kids are exposed to ideas around a certain age. Like, it just happens. Like, and if there's no source for it, they'll come up with it themselves. And I'd almost rather there be a source for it than, like, kids coming up with pornography on their own. Like, that's going to go poorly and break laws. Like,
but speaking of kids being exposed to things, I would like to get back to hell at some point.
No, I agree. Okay.
Yeah, we're getting close to 2 hours, and I got several things.
I did have a way back into it. So
okay, cool.
So back when people had less distractions, right? And then they had like just a couple things to focus on. Like heaven and hell was like the thing to focus on. It was it kind of governed everything you did. Like, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? And depending on the size of the town you were in, if you were doing what everybody else considered bad things, you were going to know about it and be ostracized and all that shit. So it was maybe hell was a bigger deal in the past because there were fewer distractions and there was less opportunity for nuance. Like the closer you are to like fight or flight, like survival kind of stuff, like the less nuance matters at all. And it seems like people's mental state and their willingness to go fight or flight is super delayed because even in colonial times, like once you had a region established, like threat of death was not an ever-present thing. Like it was always something that could happen, but it wasn't like a daily thing you had to try to avoid exactly.
Right.
But your brain needs something. And I kind of feel like evolution kind of screwed us over in a way because it will help you to survive to always look at yourself and what you're doing is not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like that helps you survive better. But then once surviving isn't so hard, now you're stuck with this mentality and like your brain's got to do something with it. So it's like we needed the heaven or hell thing because it's like our brain didn't know how to operate without a threat of danger. It's kind of like why do wealthy countries spend so much on war? It's like because they fucking need to, apparently.
It's sort of a survival instinct, but now it's given resources.
Like Nazi bank accounts aside, Switzerland, it has been super prosperous, and they've been completely neutral. They also have one of the most kick-ass militaries and have provided some perfect armored personnel carriers to Ukraine. Switzerland hasn't fought a war. I don't know how long.
They weren't in either the first two World Wars.
No, they weren't. They definitely weren't in World War II. They've been neutral for a long time. Maybe it was after World War I they went full on neutral.
Wow.
I don't remember. But like it's clear that like you can have a military to defend your country and do it well, and then kind of never have to use it.
That would be ideal,
yeah.
But a couple more things I wanted to touch on before we wrap up here. So this is kind of going back to like almost the beginning. So like when Jimmie was talking about like his attitudes towards religion, the whole like, as long as you're not harming anyone, I don't care what you believe, whatever. But so when atheists talk about like why like they're so vocal about being like against religion or whatever, like one of the main reasons that's brought up a lot is how much religion impacts like the public sphere, like specifically when it comes to politics and how they're trying to like legislate certain morality. And they're like, as long as you keep it in your home, just keep it in your churches, and that's fine. But the thing is, like for me, I'm not even necessarily fine with them keeping it in their homes and their churches because of concepts like hell, specifically when it's being taught to children.
Oh, I see.
And so when like, because this is my experience, like I said, like growing up, like just having that. I mean, I was like, saved. I prayed the prayer or whatever when I was like 4 years old. So I was in like very early on, but it was still just that in the back of my mind. It's like, am I sure? Like, did I pray the prayer right? Did I believe the exact right things? Because if what's on the line is me burning in hell forever, that's probably some trauma I'm still dealing with. But just, I think Richard Dawkins, the way he put it was basically saying like, I don't believe there is a hell, but I think if anyone is deserving of hell, it's the people who teach the concept of hell to children. Like those are primary candidates.
Kenneth Cole, Joel Osteen, Creflo Dollar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dude, Creflo came and talked at it. Wait, no, Creflo is the guy from Georgia. There's a guy who, another portly fellow from Olstein's church, he came and spoke at Crossroads once.
Yeah.
And he puts on a good show. He's a good speaker.
Yeah.
There were a few things he said where I was like, wait, no, but you said that well.
Yeah. So that's why even when it comes, like for me personally, that's why I like to be so vocal about it so much, is because I know like even like outside of like the public sphere, like this is the shit that goes on like in homes, in churches, in Sunday school classes, like the reason, and this is something like, we've talked about Jimmie and obviously with Matt, is like part of the reason I'm so vocal about it is because there's so many people like still stuck in it, but they feel like they have to be there, even though there's like all this like bullshit that they feel like they have to believe. And it's like causing so much like damage to them, like psychologically and emotionally. Right.
But I just want to tell people like no one knows if you have to believe that. So if you feel like you have to believe that, like, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, because maybe you do to get to the next place for you. But, like, no one knows if you do or don't, like, for sure. So this is dealer's choice. Like, whatever you feel like connects you to more of you, do that. But there's that fucking song. It's like more of you and less of me. if you were to sing that about a person, how many people would say like, just run to therapy?
That's an abusive relationship.
Like that is textbook codependency. You are hurting yourself and everyone else involved. Like, get some help.
Right.
And that's abuser stuff. Like that's like slow burn Stockholm syndrome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like I said, for me, like end of the day, like it's concepts like hell and like things that people like, things like that are keeping people in it just out of fear, basically. Like, hey, that's one of the things that like really pisses me off about religion, honestly. Like, and why I like to be so vocal and active or whatever about it. So yeah. So like I said, we're not quite wrapping up yet because I'm going to go and put the link out there. If they're like, see, we got at least a couple people still watching, so I just put the link out in the comments if people want to join in because we're about to get to the memes.
Oh,
no one.
I will.
Yeah. So no one sent me any, so you'll just have to deal with the ones that I found.
I was talking to my son Owen, who's 11, and he's about to turn 12 in April. I don't remember what we were talking about, but religion kind of came up, and he was like, "Yeah, I think people should decide that for themselves when they're older." And he was like emphatic, like, "No, that's not something that you should tell a kid what to believe. Like, they should decide for themselves." Which made me super glad that like he stopped going to Sunday school like 6 years ago. And I told him that. I said, "Well, I'm glad you said that because that means that like that we made the right choice for you." And I think that's the right choice for everybody. But people have their own path to get where they're going. I may think that path totally sucks, and I may tell people that path sucks. But like, I'll also tell them, I might be convinced of this. I can't tell you for sure I'm correct. So, and neither can you. So it's kind of whatever you want.
Right.
When it all boils down to it.
Exactly. All right. Well, like I said, like I said at the beginning, one of the goals of the evening was see, like, we're pretty sure hell doesn't exist, but just in case, how can we make sure we get there? So before I get to some examples I have, like, Jimmy, did you have any other thoughts or anything you wanted to?
I could give you some examples of how to get to hell, I think.
Yeah.
Let's see. I already said the one about masturbating on my girlfriend's face. So.
No. All right. Never mind.
Ooh. You know how you can go straight to hell?
How's that, Jimmy?
Masturbating to a Bible.
I'll tell you what. So, was it Song of Songs?
Wait, into or with?
Ooh. Oh, wait.
You got to be concerned about
with or into.
Oh, he's got to be really careful. Or here's what you can do. A lot of Christians will say this will get you to hell. Use Bible pages as rolling papers and smoke some weed.
That actually sounds like a good time. I could.
But yeah, definitely a hardcore right wing conservative evangelical will be like, "You're going straight to hell. You're smoking that evil plant with Bibles."
That's an excellent way to go viral.
Oh yeah,
I think with a TikTok or something.
I'm gonna show you how to roll a joint with the pages of Genesis.
Now it's super bad.
No, it's all right. I'm using the pages with the verses that say that it's God's will that all are saved. So
it would be extremely bad for your health. I used to work in the printing industry, and like the black ink is like.
Chris is down.
What?
He said yes.
Yeah, Chris is down.
No, like it is not a habit you want to have because the black ink has like basically all the chemicals that can make a coal or like charcoal adjacent chemical. That's what makes the black color. and then in like Bible pages, I think there's some like polyester fibers in there or something. So like, it'll definitely cause cancer if you do it a lot.
Yeah. Well, then you'll die sooner, and you get to hell sooner. There you
go. All right. So I just had a few memes. Like maybe some of these will get I don't know, some ideas flowing.
I got one last one, Tommy. Talk a nun. Not. This is not SA or R. This is talking her into just talking none into having sex with you.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
You got to be smooth.
Yeah. Make it consensual.
Make it consensual.
Yeah.
You got to be smooth.
Right.
And then wouldn't God be mad at you? He's hey, you're screwing my nuns. Wouldn't he be mad at that?
But only because he was going to.
Oh no! Here's what you do. No, here's what you do. Convince a priest to do a nun.
Oh, that's not difficult.
And then just,
I'm sure.
Wait a minute, yeah, and then you can film it, and then make videos. You can put it on X videos and Pornhub. There you go.
But if they wear devil masks, now what's the propaganda for? Is it for or against?
Their faces, this is father whoever and nut and sister whoever, and they would just want to do this, and then. Oh, dude, are you kidding me? You know the kind of backlash you would get for that? That would be hilarious.
So what I was going to say was, shit, I can't remember where I heard it. It was on some atheist YouTuber's channel. There were times, and this happened more than once. It was like an actual thing. I think there's a name for it. Like, there's like an actual, like Catholic name for it. Where, these nuns would be like deep in prayer / meditation, and they would have these like divine spontaneous orgasms, right?
Wow.
And so like if nuns know that can happen, like if they know, like they could think or maybe actually be like fucked by God and then have like the best orgasm, it might be really difficult to talk them into anything else.
Oh, come Lord Jesus. Indeed. No. Speaking of which, all right, I just want to get to like, and these might spark some further conversation, but what was that, Jimmy?
I'm ready.
That's a bad joke. Oh, spare the rod, spoil your wife. No, see, that's a bad joke on purpose because it's like sexist, but like, it's funny how bad that is. That's why it's funny. Not because it's funny how awesome it is.
No, it's funny because it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry, things are being weird. All right. There it goes. All right. So, figured I'd kick us off with a little Easter theme since it's Holy Week. They're just some memes that I found recently. Is like, former me would have not laughed at these at all, but like, Jesus coming out of the tomb. Out of my way, bitches. I'm being fabulous.
Pretty good one.
Yeah, he is. He's not even wearing clothes. He's wearing a sheet.
I'm Jesus, bitches.
He's like, who's about to get laid? This guy. I'm already wearing a sheet.
It's like, and they like, it's like, oh, Jesus, such a baddie. We can't even look upon
his nakedness. Isn't that a thing in the Old Testament? Don't look upon someone's nakedness lest you be murdered and or incested or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think looking upon nakedness literally means like doing them.
Kenny Loggins' Jesus never looked so good.
Wait, if looking upon someone's nakedness was akin to doing them, like premature ejaculation must have been like the rule in olden times. Like that.
Well, but it got that one dude in trouble though.
Wait, it spilled his seed and shit? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, all right. Let's see. I can't remember what I got.
That means women are fields. Like they're like below animals. You know what I mean? Like if that's your seed,
there's a little. That's a good one.
A little Good Friday themed one here.
Little
knew about.
I like the hipster glasses
they were cool.
too.
You got to have the hipster glasses.
I love
that's key.
Humor.
That's key.
That's a famous Catholic picture of Jesus. Like that is in like.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was in my great grandma's
with or without
room
the glasses.
where she lived in. It was like a nunnery, but like they had also rented rooms.
I call this the regular one without the glasses and the writing. I call this one the Big Lebowski Jesus.
Yes.
Oh. he
dude,
abides,
right?
He
the
abides.
dude.
Yeah. See that's the dude who has smoked so much weed, he's gone back to shaving.
Hilarious.
Like he smoked himself normal.
Right. Next. This is just a
Oh
classic.
yeah, are you there, Dad? It's me, you. I love it. I love that one.
I forgot about that one.
Well, what is this? Maundy Thursday? Is that's the name of that day? Yeah, we was in the garden.
Like 5 minutes when I saw this the first time. I was crying out.
Yeah.
Are you there, Dad?
Now this is one of my favorites. What? Because that's exactly the reaction I had. Why do people think Jesus to a boomerang?
Oh wow, that's hilarious.
That's just one of my absolute favorite things ever.
It's more likely. This is gruesome, but it's more likely Jesus' body on the cross was eaten by birds, and then thrown in a mass grave, possibly in Gehenna.
Oh yeah.
Then it is that like he came back from the dead, like that, or that he was even buried in a tomb, like anything other than a mass grave. Because if you went up on a cross, like part of the punishment is you died there, and then birds came and ate you, because like there's no religion that's on board with that. So like that was the Romans just pissing off whoever. Like,
right.
And then they throw your body in basically like a trench, and they either set the trench on fire at some point, or they're just like a compost pile of people. It's like
it's good for the environment, but since we need to finish,
honestly, that sounds worse than hell.
Bring it down. You can't enter heaven unless Jesus enters you.
Hey, babe, want to ride to heaven? Night. Hi, I'm Douche Jesus. How are you? Good girl.
All right, just in case we didn't quite make it to hell, I just wanted to make sure we were secure. This is a different kind of eternal security I'm going for here.
I got one. How does Jesus hold a pen?
How's that? So if anyone's familiar with a YouTube channel, Prophet of Zod,
excellent,
and like there's a live stream he does with another YouTuber named Objectively.
It's called Zadanza.
And they call it Zadanza. Did you see the most recent one where they found a Christian Ouija board?
What?
Where it's supposed to be like it was made as a joke.
Oh, sure,
but it's supposed to be the same. So like you can this is how you can talk directly with Jesus. So like the thing that you move around, it's a cross with like the little like glass hole in it. And someone watching commented, "Oh, it should have just been like Jesus's hand with a hole in it."
Oh, that would have perfect. That would have been amazing. I would fucking buy that. If they made
a hell yeah
board with a picture, like the thing is Jesus' hand with a hole in it with the magnifying. Oh, that'd be perfect.
There's all these like clearly sexual innuendos, and like Jesus entering you, come Lord Jesus, come, and like come in power, Lord Jesus, and like all of these things where like Jesus needs
and fill you
and
up.
You need to surrender so that God can enter you. It's all very what's that word that YouTube likes? That's also funny. Grapey. It's all very grapey. Grapey, because if you. Yeah. But we've already said the word, so it doesn't really matter.
You remove the G. Just remove the G. Yeah. But
no. Yeah. And so like Jesus comes back, and Thomas is like, "That's not you," even though it looks like you and sounds like you and all the things that are you. And then Jesus is like, "Yeah, put your finger through the hole in my hand." It's like Thomas had to finger bang Jesus' hand before he believed, and Jesus was like, "Do you, man?" Like,
so
He's like, I will not believe until I have fingered all of his holes
that weren't there before.
Jesus came back in North America.
All right, yeah.
Did he have holes in his hands then too?
Oh, yeah.
Well, he wouldn't have been as much fun if
That's
he
a
didn't.
continuity editing problem. If this was a movie, he'd be like, "Wait a second, they clearly filmed this before they put the holes in his hand."
Like I was watching Underground 6 the other day. Have you seen that movie? Oh, it's so good with Ryan Reynolds. Anyway, there's a part.
No, that is good. Yeah.
When they slide out and they almost hit the truck, and the truck takes apart takes off the driver's side rear view mirror.
Yeah.
And they take off. It's there, but then later on, it's gone again.
Oh yeah.
That was a continuity. That reminded me of that because that was the last continuity area that I remember that's fresh in my head because I really like that movie. I've seen that movie like 3 or 4 times. But
no, it's a fun action movie. It's pretty good.
That first part, he goes, "I wouldn't do that." He goes, "What? You're gonna be a pirate?" That was great, dude. You're gonna be a pirate. But anyway, so funny. Have you seen it at all, Tommy?
No, it's a good time.
Yeah, unfortunately, like with me, if the question begins with the words "Have you seen?" the answer is probably no.
A lot of movies.
But yeah, what's it called again?
6 feet.
6 Underground.
Yeah.
6
you
Underground.
have Netflix on there.
Gotcha. I do not have Netflix anymore.
Well, maybe you could temporarily.
And another one he did was called it's the one where he goes back to visit his past self or future self.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh, it's so good. It's with what's her name? The fuck's her name? Zoe Saldana.
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, she plays his wife.
Wait, is that the one where it's R.I.P.D.?
No, it's not R.I.P.D. Too.
That one's fun too.
R.I.P.D. is hilarious. No, but it's not that one.
No, that's like budget Men in Black, but like better.
Yeah, they're the rest in peace. They're the rest in peace department. But
yeah.
No, this one is about. Fuck. You know what? Let's just close it down because but I don't remember. I'll be on here for another half hour, and we don't want to be doing that. So.
All right. Well, any other like parting words from you, Jimmy? Also want to make sure, like you mentioned at the beginning of the show, make sure people are aware of your show and like where they can find you on the interwebs.
Find me on the regular Facebook page, which is Jimmie Ligon, which is on the screen. It should be JimmieLigon, or my professional page, which is Jimmie Ligon - Skeptic and Atheist.
You can put either. I'll put these in the comments.
You can also find me on Facebook.
The show you're making people know.
I think under Facebook. Let me make sure. Because I always get the on there. Not Facebook. I'm sorry, but YouTube. 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 My screen. My page name is Jimmie Green - Ligon because. There's a reason why that green Ligon is there, but we'll go into that another time. It's not that important. That's where you can find me on YouTube. I don't do anything fake. I don't have any weird screen names because I want it to be all me. It's all real. So even on Instagram, if I'm on Instagram, it's the real Jimmie Ligon.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's how we like you.
I don't do no fake.
No, I want everybody to be who they are. Like even bad people. Honestly, people who are like villains in quotes, like in life, they're being themselves. And like, why would we want them to be? It's like, you really want them to go through life like tortured being someone else? Like,
well, I don't want them to kill anybody. So if they have to be tortured to not kill anybody, be tortured. I don't give a shit.
No, but here's like, okay. Yeah. I kind of think like anybody who is like on board with hell and being like, yeah, hell is cool and awesome and good, we should probably lock all those people up.
So yes, be you and let us know.
But like lock them up. I'm not saying punish them, but I'm saying like send them somewhere where like all the people like that can live together, and like they can do their own thing. They can all hate each other, judge each other.
Isn't that how
And
Australia started?
that's how what?
Isn't that how Australia started?
Well, kind of, but that was probably people
So here's my thought. So what the thought I just had is like, so let everyone who's currently in Australia, who's like not that, let them like move wherever they want, and then we'll just repurpose Australia as that kind of penal colony.
That's what I thought. Australia was a penal colony at first.
Yeah, it was, but I think most of the people I think a lot of the people who went there were in debtor's prison. Like there were some murderers and really bad people.
Oh, so a lot of people just owed money?
Yeah.
Oh, that's goofy.
But here's the crazy thing. This is a side comment. Like I've watched several YouTubers like do like regular dudes, like the How Ridiculous crew. But like when they first started out, they were doing just like kind of any kind of sports trick shot. And now they probably did like
perfect.
No, this is the Australian version. This is How Ridiculous.
Oh, okay.
They're also Christians, but like they did not. That was not even a thing until they had been. That like barely came out until they'd been doing this for years on YouTube.
Oh.
But like the trick shots they were pulling off, just the fact that like anybody could pull these off at all, like let alone after several takes, like I'm sure they did. Like they're not pro athletes. And they're making these like soccer trick shots and golf trick shots and basketball trick shots, and like this isn't even the sport you play. And so they, like the debtors who survived debtors prison were like super physically good at life and just staying alive, and then they get sent to an island. And so like it's like everybody who didn't die in prison got sent to Australia, so they were already really good at staying alive. And it's like sports are a huge thing in Australia, and being regular good at sports in Australia makes like some of our college teams look like shit. Like some of our best ones, like they're just like genetically like
good.
They survived prison, and then they were sent to an island that's mostly gonna kill you, and and so the ones that survived are just good at living.
Yeah.
So yeah, send them anywhere. Like Australia's barely been in a war. They were in World War II and stuff, but like they're crazy good.
Well, they didn't start as a country till 1901. I just looked that up.
Yeah, I think they're still technically part of the UK, aren't they?
No, it says that Australia became a nation on January 1st, 1901, when 6 British colonies joined together to form the Commonwealth of Australia. So no, it's not part of UK, but what happened was there were British colonies that's why people who are not really understand how British and the difference between British and Australian dialects, that's why they get confused, because actually it was started by British colonies, but they do have their own dialect now. But they've been country for 123 years.
And a big reason why Australian British English sounds like it does is because they keep their mouths shut pretty often when they're talking, and it has to do with during seasons of the year the blowflies, those black flies that are everywhere. They fly in your mouth because it's desert everywhere, and like there's moisture in there, so the flies will try to get in your mouth and let you talk like an Australian.
That checks out. Yeah. Well, all right.
Well, I like to thank you guys for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you for coming on. This was a lot of fun. Yeah,
I had a good time.
As fun as talking about hell could be, which I knew we could do it.
Yeah.
So
I think it's also not that I'm going to answer this question, but I think it's also valuable to consider, like, okay, if hell was real, what would send you there? Like, what actually is evil?
And deserving of an eternity of torture.
I think it's imposing your will on other people. Like, I think, when somebody's like, this feels like a good thing to me, and like my gut tells me this is good, this is bad, and like the person who convinces this other person who thinks they know what good is, convincing them that their idea of good is bad, that's evil. Like,
so religion.
Killers would go to hell, I think.
What's that?
All serial killers would go to hell, I think.
Yeah, Because
That'd be up
that's
there.
If you want to harm a child, straight to hell.
Well, now that gets complicated because does that include people who like have spanked kids?
No,
Like
no. I'm talking about people who have SA'd little kids.
Mhm.
You know, I think all the priests who were guilty of that are like that one. You know, excuse me, and all the popes in the past who not only hid it but actually participated in that type of behavior. If there was a hell, they'd be going for sure.
And it was practice, like instead of doing anything to address the situation, and I think it still is in some areas. Instead of addressing the problem, you just move the priest to another location where they still have access to children.
That's why I have such. That's why I can't stand the Catholic Church, because they allowed that to happen for hundreds and hundreds of years.
And most Catholics would be like, most Catholics are horrified by that. So you know what I mean. So it's not like the individual Catholics at all. It's the like the institution and.
But I get backlash from Catholics for saying that. I'm like, dude, okay, be mad at me, but he wasn't. But the Pope, the Pope and the priest weren't raping atheist kids. Your kids. You be mad at me for saying it, but they weren't hurting my kids. You can let them continue to hurt your kids, but these are your kids I'm talking about.
Yeah, the Catholic Church helped hide Nazis. The Catholic Church helped hide Nazis in World War II.
Oh, I know that.
Like, it was the Pope at the time. My goodness, it's just
he's a piece of shit.
Like the fact that people, it's a problem if your religion can be used to justify these things.
That Pope back then was a huge soft Lincoln log. We'll just put it that way. What he was.
Oh, just say it. He was Olympian.
Fair enough.
No, I'm talking about a piece of shit. Lincoln log.
Oh, that too.
Shit.
No, no. People are awful. People, when they get united around an idea, before long, it gets awful. Like, it could be a good idea to start. As soon as you start to institutionalize it.
Individuals are smart. Groups of people are stupid.
Yeah, or I've heard it put, none of us are as dumb as all of us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Donald Trump's pretty good. Donald Trump.
Okay, yeah, he's like a lot of dumb all in one. Yeah,
so weirdly good at it.
Yeah, weirdly good. It's a bit yeah.
He is
so
fucking C word.
At the same time, like,
speaking of going to hell,
yeah, she'd be going to hell too because she's so damn stupid. What are you saying, man?
wait, who's so damn stupid?
MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
No, okay. I would have agreed with you up until recently. Like, I think. All right, so when State of the Union address, Biden walks in and Marjorie Taylor Greene is there, like, I just hit like a mega like thrift store basically on the way in, and she's wearing like all the mega stuff, like the hat and everything, and he looks at her and he does the best shocked old man. He's like, and she gives him a look like, and when she gave that look, I'm like, she knows she's playing a game. She knows that she's being like whatever martyr like people need her to be to like stay in power, and like she's playing a game. She might agree a little bit with, or maybe a lot with what she's saying, but she is playing a game for power, and to be that consistently on brand stupid. Like, I think there's got to be some level of smart behind it. Like,
I'm not going to give her that credit.
No, I think she's playing. No, I'm not saying she's not stupid, but I'm saying like she is the best at being stupid, along with Trump.
Just because she's playing a part, doesn't mean she's not stupid. And I don't want to keep going, but I have to throw this last thing out there. If the reports are true about Donald Trump's IQ score, then I'm not surprised by any of this. I heard that he got a 73. That's pretty fucking stupid.
I think he's really good at playing people. He's really good at playing people against themselves and other people.
Right, but I heard he got a 73. I don't know if that's true or not. I just saw that somewhere.
But like, you can be great at one thing and be shit at the rest of life. And I think that's like, I'm not like. I'm not like.
Man, that's for goddamn sure. Anybody who loses money at a fucking casino is a fucking idiot. 100%.
Well, if you lose money on a casino when you own
it,
like
you own the casino and it bankrupted the casino. How do you bankrupt the casino?
No.
I've never been in my life, and if you gave me the keys to a casino, you would come back to more casino.
All you got to do is give people what they want. You know what I mean? Like, the only way you can ruin it is give people what you want.
Anyway, I'm out, bros. I love you guys. I gotta go.
Right. Yeah, thanks a lot, Jenny.
Thanks again. We got to do this again sometime, but I gotta go.
Yep.
Take care.
Alrighty.
Yep.
Have a good night, man. Thank you.
Ooh, I almost pressed end stream. Ah, that's not my job this time. See you later, guys.
All right. All right. Later, Jimmy.
You're still there.
I didn't press the button right.
Okay. So that was fun. We ran a little long. But that was good times.
That was. So, yeah. So be sure to catch Jimmy this coming Thursday. I think it's 7 Eastern, 6 Central. The show Unreligious. I'm on there from time to time. It's a good time.
Hey, what's it called when you stay like to when the bar closes, you shut it down?
Yeah.
Yeah, we shut Jimmy down.
Something like that. All right. Well, any other parting thoughts, or just want to hit us with the benediction? And
I've been paying attention to, like, everybody is either the hero of their story or the chief victim. Like, which I think is still a version of the hero, depending on the story. So it's been really helpful for me to look at other people, like, why are they doing this? Like, even Donald Trump, like, how does this make him the hero in his story? Because even when I think he's doing things to hurt other people, it's because, like, in his story, that makes him the good guy. And I think there are very few people who play the villain in their own story. Maybe not anyone, because like even Hitler thought he was the good guy on some level. I'm not saying he is the good guy, but that, like, helps you understand someone's thinking and what they're going to do, where they're coming from. Like, I was talking to Erin last night, and I'm like, I give her little updates like I give you, and I was like, here's what's going on with Trump, and I'm like, he's probably going to say, rah, rah, rah. And it was like, fuck if 10 minutes later when I was, like, checking something, and he didn't tweet truth, he didn't truth out exactly what I said he would, based on him being the hero in the story. I think everybody's a little predictable.
A bit.
You just gotta be aware of that. Like, do what you want. You're gonna do it anyway, or you're gonna hate yourself for it. So, I don't know. I think everybody should do what they want. Do what they really want.
Within reason. Yeah. Yeah.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think very few people would want to actually do what fundamentalist Christians say they would do without their faith. You know?
Yeah, I do. And the other thing I know is hell can go to hell. And that's all I got to say about that.
Hell can eat itself.
Please.
Nom nom.
All right. Well, with that, thanks again for joining us, everybody. And for people watching later, please feel free to comment and still email us your blasphemous memes. I'd still love to see them. So here, let me pull up the email address again real quick.
How did you get a thumbs up? What's that from?
What's that?
We just got a thumbs up that popped up. Did you see that?
No.
I saw it on mine. Oh, okay.
So yeah, email us, whether it's memes or just anything else. If you just want to email us about something at thehumanitylive@gmail.com. Send us your messages or memes or funny things or whatever. And yeah.
So we'll close it out.
Yep.
May your things and stuff be forever with your people.
Forever and ever. Amen. Good night.
I want to come up with